And please welcome Colonel Gary Johnston. He's the Deputy Commander for MCI West here in Camp Pendleton. Colonel?
Yeah, I know it's hot out there, so I'll be brief. Everybody's talked about everybody out here that's participated to help pull this thing off, and so I'm not going to go into a lot of that because that was primarily what I was going to do is thank them. Especially thank the folks behind me. The ladies and gentlemen behind us here basically elevate the significance of this event. So thank you all for being here and participating in this. Then we've got the common laborer like me that will be out here supporting the cause. And then we've got the professionals. We've got the doctors. We've got the dentists. We've got the optometrists. We have the lawyers. We've got it all out here. But it takes about a 5-to-1 ratio to support the number one priority, which is our veterans. And if a guy that's been around the Marine Corps for a few years, I'd say 51, given my father was a retired Marine of 35 years and a veteran of 3 wars myself, I think I get it. I appreciate each and every one of the veterans out here. The one thing that I also wanted to talk to about the band and maybe some others is what is stand down? What does it really mean? Well, from where I come from as a Marine infantryman, stand down means it's an order. When you stand down, you rest, you refit, and you recover and you prepare for the next operation. But some folks don't realize there's something that bookends a stand down, and that's called stand to. Stand to, if you take us back to combat, I'm in the defensive position. The enemy's always got their eyes on us, right? And right before that sun goes down, we go to stand to. That means we all get our combat gear on, we get our weapon, and we get in our firing position, and we're letting the enemy know before the sun goes down, if you're thinking about it tonight, bring it. After the sun goes down, the order is to stand down. And those of us on watch, stay on watch. Those of us that rest and refit, rest and refit. But before the sun comes up, what do? We go back to stand to. So when the sun comes up and the enemy's still looking at us, they know we're ready. Ready for us and them to say, bring it. So again, when I look at stand to, I look at the commitment of our veterans. That exemplifies what you've done, what you do, and what you continue to do. And for those that have family members and dependents of veterans, God bless you too, because we know we don't do what we do without you as well. So again, I thank you on behalf of General Calais and all the installations on the West, as well as Lieutenant General Cropperata, your MEF commander. I represent 50,000 Marines and sailors along the West Coast, and I take it very, very personally, and I'm very, very pleased to be here. So God bless everyone, and Semper Fidelis. I've also been given the pleasure to introduce to you kind of our keynote speaker. And it was handed to me, his tale. And I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to read this because I want you to tell it. But I would like to introduce Sidney Matlock, otherwise known as Big Sid, who showed up at Parris Island and placed his feet at a 45-degree angle on the yellow footprints back in 1998. He served our country and served the Marine Corps for a full enlistment. He was honorably discharged. And then something happened. And Big Sid's going to tell us all about it. Big Sid, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Colonel. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How y'all doing? Well, as you all know, my name is Sidney Matlock. I go by Big Sid. And something did happen in 2002. I got out of the Marine Corps and realized that transitioning from military life to civilian life was a challenge. I struggled looking for work. I struggled to find my place in the community. And not too long after that, I found myself homeless. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know who to talk to. So I ended up working, but living out of my car for about 1.5 years. During that time of working, one of the veterans that I actually served with, I ran into randomly, and he took me in and allowed me to basically couch surf for about 1.5 years to help me get back on my feet. I got back on my feet, got off the street, started doing well, and then in 2007, I had a house fire. That was a complete, total loss. And I found myself homeless yet again. I did learn a few things. I learned that, one, I couldn't be afraid to ask for help. And I couldn't be afraid to admit that the struggle is real. And then I had to learn that I wasn't alone. For the longest time, I thought that it was just me in the struggle. I was afraid to talk to anybody. And then, as I started getting better, working still, bounced back, I was sitting at a restaurant, and a gentleman came up to me out of random, and he said, "Hey, Marine, are you done struggling? Are you ready to change your life? You should think about going to school." I looked at this guy and I said, "Man, I hadn't been to school since high school. High school wasn't even my thing. I barely graduated. Why would I ever want to consider going to college?" And he said, "Well, you should check out Palomar. Just come see what we're about." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll come check it out." I brushed him off, didn't think anything else about it. A few months went down the road, about 6 months going down the road. Then I started thinking, I said, "You know what? What the heck? Maybe I just check it out." So I walked through the front doors of Palomar College in the admissions building, and that same person who ran into me at the restaurant is sitting there at the front desk. He said, "I knew you'd be here." Wow, okay. But he took the time to explain things to me so that I could understand them. He helped me use my educational benefits. He helped me put myself in a better position to be successful. And most importantly, whenever he saw me on campus, he would ask me a couple questions. He would ask, one, "How you doing?" Which is really important, because most people don't ask how you doing and actually mean it, right? The second thing he asked me was, "How are your grades?" Again, I wasn't the best student, so that was an important question to me. But the most important question he asked me was the third question, was, "Do you need anything?" Doesn't matter what it is, do you need anything? That question right there really got me thinking. I said, "You know what? I want to do what you do." So I became a work study at Palomar. And being a work study at Palomar, I was able to work with Palomar veterans and help those same veterans who were going through similar situations, but at the same time looking to better themselves. I was able to be a part of that. And I began asking those same three questions to my fellow veterans on campus. How you doing? How are your grades? Do you need anything? And by asking that, do you need anything, I started to form relationships and bond with people. And then I realized that the veteran need in the community was stronger than ever and that it needed to be acknowledged. So I became active in the veteran student organization. I became active on campus. I started volunteering at nonprofit organizations to really understand, or try to understand exactly what was needed. I discovered interfaith. And so a lot of my fellow veterans who were struggling with situations, I would send them to interfaith, which turned out to be a fantastic program. Little did I know, a year later, that I would be back in that same situation. Homeless, scared, couch surfing, and even living out of my storage unit. So I decided to take a chance and go see what interfaith was about myself. I spent 2 years in the interfaith program where they gave me more skill, more knowledge, more motivation, more guidance to be successful. Here I am now, an actual Palomar employee. I'm finishing school to get my degree in social psychology. And I'm grateful and thankful that now, as a Palomar employee, I have the opportunity, working in veteran services in an outreach position, to not only help Palomar veterans, but to help all veterans. So that is very humbling to me. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful for all the assistance and help that I've gotten along the way, because not too long ago, I was right in your shoes. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you so much, all of you, for your time. To the veterans out there, I want to say thank you so much for your service and what you do. But also, I want to take the time to say to all of you who aren't veterans, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Big Sid. Big Sid. Thank you for your inspirational words. Ladies and gentlemen, Rancho Buena Vista High School's band will now play the Armed Forces Music Medley. Please stand when your service's music is played.